Welcome, my name is Mark Gottlieb, and welcome to day one of our 7-day mini-series, An Attorney's Guide to Understanding Business Valuation. In today's first session, we're going to talk about the standards of value. There are several different standards of value, and each standard is used based upon the facts and circumstances of the case. The standards that you may be familiar with, or the standards of value that you may be familiar with, are fair market value, fair value, synergy value, investment value, and intrinsic value. Today we're going to look very quickly about each one of these different standards. Fair market value is defined by Revenue Ruling 59-60. And in layman's terms, it's defined as saying that is what a hypothetical buyer would pay and what a hypothetical seller would sell their business for when both parties have knowledge of all the relevant facts. There are several different attributes to fair market value that you as attorneys need to be familiar with. The first one is that the transaction has to be made as a cash or cash equivalent. The second one is it has to be an arm's length. Next, there has to be an unrestricted market. Each party, as I said before, has to have knowledge of all the relevant facts, and most important, neither the buyer nor the seller is under any compulsion to buy or sell the business. Last but not least, the transaction is hypothetical. The next standard of value that I'd like to look at is fair value. In New York State, fair value is the standard of value in shareholder disputes. In New Jersey, fair value is the standard of value in matrimonial actions. Often, no discount is taken for control for minority status, and discounts for lack of control may or may not be taken under the fair value standard. The definition of fair value actually does change from state to state, so it's really important for you as the attorney to determine what the statute says where you're practicing. The next standard of value I'd like to talk about is synergy value. And synergy value is mostly used in the context of mergers and acquisitions. There are certain issues that you have to consider when addressing or considering synergy value. First is the concept. The combined value and performance of two companies will be greater than the sum of the separate individual companies. Next, the structure and results. Can these results be achieved by combining the entire company or just their departments? When we're talking about synergy value, we're talking about often three types of synergies: revenue synergies, cost synergies, and financial synergies. The next standard of value we want to talk about is investment value. And investment value normally applies to a particular investor based upon his or her investment requirements and expectations. What are the things that are important in investment value? There's investment goals, there's investor-specific criteria, there's rates of return, there's other issues such as strategy, and these things are very, very specific to the seeker of the valuation exercise. The next standard of value is intrinsic value. Intrinsic value, simply stated, is the value to the holder. And often, in a matrimonial setting, that's exactly what we have to attend to, particularly that in New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey. So there you go, the different standards of value in day one of our 7-day mini-series, An Attorney's Guide to Understanding Business Valuation. I'm Mark Gottlieb. Thank you for attending.